All right. Welcome, welcome out there. I am recording. I have some new equipment, some new audio equipment that I'm going to plug in before our next stream. But if anybody can't hear me, let me know. Again, I will jam this clean up my nose if that's what it takes. Anyway, welcome to the illustration block of CG Spectrum's Twitch page. I am host Eric Wilkerson. I am mentor for illustration here at CG Spectrum, and today we're going to be doing something. Actually, we're going to be doing part 9 of an ongoing thing where I draw a cybernetic lady holding the decapitated head of her opponent. So I'm going to work on finishing up this body today and at least try and start further developing, rendering that head with whatever time we have left. But as always, if anybody has any questions, anything art related that they would like to discuss, please feel free to drop a note in the chat. Otherwise, I am going to start it. All right. Everybody's doing okay. Audrey, hello. Yeehaw. That's what that's Audrey's so turn on my so people can see what I'm work. Bit cold, so I'm going to put my jacket on. Yeah, I should put my sweater on. Ah, that's better. Nice and toasty. Nice and toasty. Hey. Tatum, hello, hello, hello. Things are good. I was just freezing. My fingertips get cold. Can't hold the pen right. Make bad art when you can't feel your fingertips. At least that's what that's my that's what I believe. So we can finish off this part. Okay, good. Oh, Tatum, just a quick question. I wanted to make sure you got my email about our class start date. Just wanted to confirm. Let's see. So I'm going to finish rendering this leg. Try to stay focused on this and not bounce around all over the place because I think I'm in a spot with the rest of her body, more or less. I think that blade is going to be the last thing I do because I'm still unsure about angle blade. Um, so put stay focused and put 11 minutes on the clock, shall we? There we go. Don't have a little timer. These are great little timers that you can put in the corner of your screen. Let's make it 12. And so that for that 12 minutes, nothing else matters except for that leg, this leg. Should probably have some music going. Audio is gets a little wonky when I start playing music. Already picking up a little bit of glare. Hold on, I close this window. I'll close the curtain. Okay. Yeah, that's better. Cool, great, right. Sean. Hey, hello. Hello, how you doing? Doing good. Just painting kneecaps, same old, same old. This girl's body so that I can go on to painting fish head. Cute. Do I, do I, Tatum is asking, do I like to work on private projects outside of work? Private mean like freelance work or just personal paintings? Just want to clarify. Personal paintings. I would like to, but my schedule is just so packed that it's hard to find the time to do anything else outside of the client work, CG Spectrum stuff that I do weekly. Um, but I need to. Plus, I'm also juggling two kids, so that takes it takes its toll. But I would like to get back into doing personal works because it's the personal works that got me the client work. Um, showing my own personal visions and getting back to that would be really satisfying. So it's a balance of trying to do the stuff that you enjoy, but also pay your bills. So, I mean, I think there isn't a concept artist, illustrator alive that doesn't have a personal project sitting on their hard drive somewhere just waiting to begin. They're either at the beginning stages of developing their own art book, IP thing, and working on the art, or they're about to start writing it, or whatever they want to do. It's always a time issue. It's always a time issue. Do I know any sites that might help looking for studios to apply for? Um, where are you? Column. Um, there is a website. Um, there is a website that lists different entertainment companies, different studios and things per state. I have to find the link, and I'll have that. I'll have it for you before our class because it's like a whole map. You just got to put in your location, and it will tell you. It'll show you on a map like where these companies are. But yeah, it exists. I haven't been to that site in forever, so I got to make sure it's still Denver metro area. Um, so I mean, for right now, though, I think you'd be okay because a lot of companies have been realizing over this past year that a lot of their employees can be just as productive working from home. So studios like Disney Feature Animation and a bunch of other animation studios uh, don't have a hard return to the office date. So, because for some people, daycare centers and all that stuff aren't fully operational, you can't just dump your kid off at anybody. So, some people need to just stay home. Eventually things are going to go normal. Um, and then you might find yourself in a position where you have to decide if you're going to want to relocate to do that job. Like, for example, if Lucasfilm contacted you and said, "Hey, we have a position, but you have the chance to work on a bunch of top secret Lucasfilm productions, which are probably always going to be something Star Wars related, uh, but you have to relocate to San Francisco. Would you do it?" And that is really something you have to consider. Uh, how important is it to you to be around family? And would you be okay with seeing them maybe only during holidays and cramming yourself into an airport a couple times a year to see them and then rush back to work versus finding something drivable within an hour's distance of your home that you can do maintain your relationships? I think it's something that a lot of people don't instantly consider, especially when they're younger. But when your siblings start having family, kids, and stuff, and then your folks start getting sick, or your grandma dies and you missed it because you were crunch time on a job in another state 6 hours away, then it starts to eat at you. So, not me specifically, because I don't leave the house, but oh god. But no, it does happen. A lot of friends that have that live that life. So, no, that's a very long-winded answer. Yeah. Sean is saying you'd mostly miss food. What, like family home cooking? Is that what you're referring to? Yeah. Family home cooking is what had me commuting back and forth to school for college. I'm not gonna stay in a dorm when I know my mom's cooking, throwing it down, and it's got cornbread ready for me when I get off the train. I'll uh I'll deal with that commute. Keep my room. It's all about what's important to you, really. Everybody's different. Some people might say, well, screw family. I'll live near a beach. You can always come visit me. So depends on the relationship. Depends on the yeah, depends on the relationship. I mean, it could backfire anywhere. It could backfire anywhere. So go relocate your whole life for a job and then have it end in 6 months and then be stuck with rent and have to scramble to figure out how you're going to survive, not go crawling back home. That happens a lot, regardless of industry that you're in. Companies fold. So I'm kind of the type of person like I wouldn't I'm not the type of person that you hear like Dwayne Johnson has a story about how he came to California with $7 in his pocket and just like made it work, and now he's a multi-million. Okay, well that's great for you to have made that could make that leap, but I'm sure he had connections in the wrestling industry and could make a phone call if needed to get a job doing something. But most people, I don't know. I don't know a lot of people that are just going to go, yeah, screw it. I got $7 in my wallet. Let me just relocate away from everybody I know. Hope for the best. You know, parents are always concerned with their child having a backup plan just in case things don't work out. What are you going to do? Just in case. An uncomfortable conversation, especially when you're gung ho about doing something. But being a parent now, I think about stuff like what I say to my kids if said to me one day, "We're going to move to Switzerland." Oh, okay. Well, they probably have a better quality of life in Switzerland than in America. Dodge less bullets, that's for sure. Yeah, like stories like that, you get the full story. It's kind of like hearing somebody talk about how they made it in whatever. It's one of those things where you're getting the Cliff Notes version when you talk to them or when they're speaking publicly. But if you get them one on one, if you're trusted enough for that to get them one on one, or over drinks at a restaurant or something, meet them at a convention, you all start talking, then you realize, oh, this person had help. He didn't do it all on their own. He didn't magically. Somebody just rolled up in a limo and said, "Hey, you need a job? Get in this car. Let's go." It doesn't work like that. Everybody's got a longer story about how it worked, how they made it. I just don't want to tell you because it's none of your business. It's it's uh it's more fascinating to hear Cliff Notes version, simple version, struggle. Nobody wants to hear it's a struggle. Oh, thanks. I'll stay home then if it's all that work. Self-made. And I'm guessing it didn't hurt that dad was like an Olympic gold on a box of Wheaties. Sure, they hurt because I'm pretty sure there's some random girl out in the middle of bumbleweeds nowhere that probably is just as beautiful but doesn't have a social media. So what's the hook? Everybody's got a story. He's got a story. That's what it comes to. But there's all the flip side of that is not taking a risk, not taking a chance when you had a chance, when you could have done something before life catches up with you, kids or whatever happens, sicknesses, family, deaths, and all that stuff. If you had the chance to take a leap, relocate somewhere for a job, to follow a dream, didn't do it, that can also eat away at you. What if? That what if messes a lot of people up. I don't date myself, but there's a scene from His Big Adventure where he's talking to this lady named Simone. Simone wanted to go to Hollywood or something, but she was afraid. She was afraid to take that leap. Talked her into doing it. You guys remember Pee-wee's Big Adventure? He says, "Come on, Simone, tell me about your big butt." I don't know. So we got that. And I'm gonna do the other leg. So I think I'm sufficiently warmed up. I can turn off my space heater. Um, I am going to. I'll be back in a second. So if you guys want to grab a snack or something, I'll be back in like 2 minutes. Okay? Okay. Oh no, actually it's like 80 degrees outside. Um, but I'm in my basement and I stay cold. So, um, probably need to get some iron pills or something like that. Probably deficient from never leaving the house or seeing direct sunlight. So, yeah, get sunlight, kids. Get that vitamin D and all that stuff. I mean, if that's how you want to get down, uh, sunlight is overrated. Burn stuff, burn skin. But you also don't want to be on a planet that doesn't have any sunlight, because then you get that Twilight Zone episode where the snow is like up to the fifth floor of an apartment window and everybody's freezing inside because the Earth is moving away from the sun. Really fantastic episode. Highly recommend. You know, you got to be into watching black and white TV. All right, you guys talking about imposter syndrome. What's going on? Ah, Sean. So yeah, whether it's a demo reel, whether it's a website portfolio, um, you're never going to be you're never going to be 100% ready for anything. There's always going to be one more piece that you could put on your website. There's always going to be that feeling. Well, I'll apply to this. I'll if the job ad is still up a month from now, I'll apply after I get this one last thing done. And you might be shooting yourself in the foot. It might it's always best to just apply and forget about it. See what happens. The worst thing in the world they could do is say no. But, you know, if you apply and you get an interview, then oh my goodness, then you were worthy of an interview, right? Then it just comes down to, all right, you have the portfolio, but is he crazy? So they do the interview to figure out whether you're crazy or not. Just don't spout off talking about random Twilight Zone episodes, and I think you'll be okay. But yeah, that I mean, everybody experiences that imposter syndrome when they start out. Why me? I'm not good enough. Why me? Why should I do this? Like, everybody says I'm not good enough, or I don't think I'm good. There's that little part of your brain whispering at you saying you need to finish rendering this, or finish painting that, or finish animating this, practice something or other. But unless you take that leap, you're never gonna know. So, um, well, you got to be paid what you're worth, but you also need to factor in uh, your level of experience in whatever industry you want to get into, uh, versus the uh, professional experience versus, plus, software experience. Do you know a bunch of different programs? Are you proficient with the ZBrush, Blender, Maya, blah blah blah, all these different things? Plus 2D art. I mean, if you're a whiz with all of it and your quality level is perfect in each one, like there's no deficiencies, you're just good in everything, then you can be like, yeah, I want this amount of money. But if your 3D is subpar, but your 2D art is really good, and they need somebody that's a balance, an equal balance of both, then you can't come in there and just quote numbers. I'm going to give you what the starting rate is, and they might even lowball you. So, uh, it's something to something to keep in mind. It also really depends on how badly you want to get in, right? I mean, you could always renegotiate your salary after you're already in the building, hopefully. Get the raises, or once you're in the building, you get that couple years experience, and then you go apply to another job that is going to pay you what you think you deserve. But hopefully by then you won't have that imposter syndrome. So JD Smith saying, it's true, I've been rejected several times from the same animation house, and their hiring manager was kind enough to give me feedback on what my reel was lacking. That is fantastic, because usually they don't say anything. It's just no, it's a form letter response. Thank you for applying. Due to the overwhelming amount of applications, we regret to inform you, blah, blah, blah. And you just want to like hurl your computer across the room. But yeah. It says, recently I've been hired by another house that does the same quality of work projects, so they saw something in my work that they just didn't. Moral shoot or shot. Exactly. So there is a fantastic story I tell my illustration and my concept art students about a concept artist that had applied for a job at Blue Sky Studios, Blue Sky Animation, the company that did the Ice Age movies. I mean, they've closed down, so I guess it's a good thing that she didn't get the job because then she'd be unemployed. But she was applying as a color key artist, somebody that would decide on the palette for an animated film, visual development artist doing props and environment design and character design and colors and all of it. And she had to do a test in order to get the job. And she posted the whole test on her blog many years ago. And I thought it was amazing because I'm pretty sure I did the same test and hers was way better than mine. So I thought, oh my God, if this wasn't good enough to get the job, who got that job? Because this is amazing work. And they said no to her. So sometimes it's not even about the quality of your portfolio. It might be your competition is relocating wants to relocate from the east to the East Coast from California, and they just came off of a 10-year stint working at, Disney feature animation. Who are they going to use? Who are they going to hire? The kid fresh out of college with the amazing color key painting skills, or the 10-year vet from Disney? That's a no-brainer, right? And you will never know the internal politics of that. Um, but the point is that same thing what JD was saying is that she didn't get the Blue Sky job, but then Lucasfilm came. Oh my God! And then she ended up working as a concept artist for Clone Wars and stayed there. Like, how many seasons of Clone Wars are there? Right? That was like the best sidestep to an even better career. So yeah, moral of the story: shoot your shot. Absolutely. Don't know. Don't know unless you try. Absolute. Art tests are the worst. Stressful thing. You do it. All right. Well, this is good. I think. Hope. Hope it's good enough. It's not. Oh, come on. I don't know what country you guys are in. Here in the United States, the cicadas are out to play. They're out to party. 17 years working on those rhymes so they could spit those lyrics to the lady cicadas and do all that nature stuff. Right outside my window, as loud as humanly possible. As insectly possible. I wonder if it's if you guys have cicadas where you are. If you're like, cicada, we only have giant furry spiders. Down under. Heard that Australia is currently experiencing a plague of mice. A whole plague of mice. Mice plague. I will take cicadas any day. Plague, man. On top of pandemics, on top of all kinds of horrible things. Mouse plague. What? God. Who's got crabs? What? What's going on, Sean? Instead of crab rave, cicada rave. It's a whole. It's a whole. JD Smith is saying, even if it doesn't work out with the job situation you have your eyes on, you might get a fun story out of it, like the time I applied for Dora the Explorer storyboard artist position, but my portfolio at the time was A, had no children's samples, had gory horror movie images, and C, wasn't a good storyboard portfolio in general. Still have fond memories of dropping it off to Nickelodeon knowing, that I was not a fit. That's funny. JD Smith, where are you located? Are you in California or New York? I ask because I have a similar Nickelodeon story and I will tell it to you. You're in LA. Okay. So we're going to flash back 20 years. 20 years ago, I was fresh out of college and I had been an intern at MTV Animation in Times Square in New York City. And their Nickelodeon offices were in the same building where MTV is located. But like right up the street from there, they had MTV Animation, which had Daria, Celebrity Deathmatch, and a bunch of other, Beavis and Butthead, all that stuff was all done in there. And I tried to get a job as a concept artist on, what was it? Rugrats. And I submitted my portfolio and they liked what they saw, so they sent me a test. So I did the test and showing Angelica and all the other Rugrats, doing cute stuff. And they liked that. And then they asked me to do a secondary test where I draw the Rugrats doing something out of context, like something original. So if you're familiar with the characters, the Rugrats characters, because they just got a new show where they did a 3D, where now it's all in 3D animation, but the Rugrats. So I did the Rugrats. So I did Chucky. So I took films that I like, and I put the Rugrats in those film characters. So, like Phil and Lil, the twins, I made Lil Princess Amidala from Star Wars Episode One. Like, so I gave her the whole black head crown thing in the dress, and then I did something with Phil. I can't remember, but then I had um, Angelica controlling a giant reptar with a remote, and it was about to eat Tommy, and like with a playground in the background. And then the one that I think sealed the deal on me not getting this job was I did a picture of Chucky screaming with his shirt like pulled up, so it's exposing his belly, and a chest burster like bursting out of his chest. I don't know what in the world convinced me that they were going to be like, yeah, this guy's got some imagination. We know how to hire him immediately. I really thought I was showing them what they wanted to see. And I got an email, not an email, this is before all of that. They typed me a letter on company letterhead. It was like orange and green, and saying, thank you, Eric, for your the application and your test, and you're talented, but we think that you will find success. We think you will find success or happiness doing something else. And I remember being so mad. Like you like some people will save those rejection letters and be like, ha ha, like look at me now, right? But I was not that person. I balled that letter up so fast and like ripped it to shreds. I was so angry because I thought, well, I didn't get paid for this. Like I spent days working on these samples trying to master how to draw Tommy Pickles, and it went nowhere. But uh, I'm glad that I didn't get that job, because who knows how long it would have lasted. Those animation character design jobs last as long as the show is on, and if they don't bounce you, if you're not bouncing immediately over to another project, then you're out. So who knows? Like that is one of those parallel universe stories where in an alternate timeline, if you could peek in, there's a version of me with a full head of hair, with a BMW out in the parking lot, sitting at my cubicle in Nickelodeon's studio in LA. But that's a whole other experience, right? I don't know if you guys think about stuff like the what ifs, the alternate timelines. If you had turned left instead of right, said yes instead of no, applied, didn't, what could have happened? That was my experience. So ever since then, I was kind of leery about doing tests. So I always thought this is a complete waste of time. They either know I'm good enough for this job, or like Jim Lee, the comic book artist Jim Lee. Well, I guess now he's like president of DC Comics or something like that. He has all of his old rejection letters from like Marvel and DC and all these other different comic book companies, where they were like, "Keep it up, kid. You got some skills. Like, do this or do that. Change this, change that." They actually wrote like hand wrote letters to him, back to him, various editors and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure there's like a Twitter page, or you could look it up. I'm pretty sure it's online somewhere, where he took a scan of that stuff, and now he's driving a Mercedes or something like that with heated seats, and running the company. But I start somewhere. Start somewhere. But anyway, It's good to just keep going. Look back on those experiences and you can say, man, that taught me a lot. Or it taught me nothing. It taught me not to waste my time. Oh man. Oh yeah. Everybody starts off getting rejected. Somebody somewhere isn't ready for what you got to offer. Then but then another company is. They say start ends. It's really just about that one moment, not scaring them off with tuna breath and riveting tales about random episodes of Twilight Zone. Save those conversations for your friends. But I just want to. Oh, your alternate timeline would be saving your Sega Genesis. I mean, you could. You really want to deal with having to blow into the cartridge just to get it to work, and you could get all of the games that you played on the Sega Genesis on a PlayStation 4 disc. Just put it in. To think about holding on to Dreamcast. What was the name of that game? Panzer Dragoon? You guys ever play that? Panzer Dragoon? Man, I would play that game so much that Dreamcast would overheat. You could just like feel the heat wafting off of it. And if I left this alone any longer, it would burn the house down. Spend the past 2 hours just rendering heat. Ron Lim. Oh my goodness, whatever happened to Ron Lim? Is he still out there doing it, doing his thing? No, the rest of them are. There's a really great documentary on. There's a really great documentary on. Is it YouTube about the creation of Image Comics, which I highly recommend. It's just fascinating to see something like that, and I don't know if something like that could ever happen again with the current state of the world, because there weren't as many, not nearly as many outlets for people's. The internet wasn't a thing, right? There was no social media. There games graphics for video games were crap. So yeah, there was comics, there was movies. Read a book. Who wants to do that? Just wait for the film adaptation, right? No, the only one. Ooh. Well, there hasn't been one movie that I can think of that has done manga justice. I, but I can only speak for the films that I've seen. Um, I don't know if the film adaptation of Attack on Titan is any good, but I just know that I won't be seeing it because that the anime version of that alone was enough to just give me nightmares. I just can't even imagine living in a world where you could just get yoked up and swallowed by a giant, just going about his day. Well, I mean, I don't know how fast. Like they were plagued with like uh, issues with getting the books out there on time, even back then. But yeah, they had that clout. They were coming from at his peak. Jim Lee was selling millions of copies like a month or something like that. Like X-Men was selling millions of copies. Todd McFarlane was selling millions of copies of Spider-Man. So these it's a really great story about how they all said they were going to quit Marvel, and so they quit Marvel, and then they scheduled a meeting at DC Comics, like, and all of them showed up, and like the people at DC were all excited, thinking that these heavyweight artists were going to come work for DC, and they basically set up that meeting just to tell DC that they were starting their own company and they weren't going to work for them either. Huevos. So it's just amazing. It's a really good. That is a boss move. That is a boss move. Um, so yeah, but could that happen again? Who knows? Who knows? Now nowadays it's all about getting your product out there so you can get that Netflix deal, or get that movie deal or something like that. It's more about that than it is about just making a quality comic or something. I mean, it's you want to make a quality comic, but you want to get it, you want to get that deal, right? So anyway, JD, take care. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for sharing. Good luck out there. So other than the blade, I have to figure out, I think this is as far as I'm going to take this character. I'm going to work on the Fishman face next week, and then just blast through that, and then call this one a wrap. Then after this, I want to get my easel set up. I have a find the time to do. I have a easel I want to mount to the wall. Try to get some oil painting going. Stream. So you digital guys and gals can ask me all kinds of questions about oil painting. I don't know if I'm going to do it this week. No. Next week it's going to be getting this one wrapped up. Should I do the body? Should I do his fish body? It would make sense if I did some kind of blurred mass of a gladiator or something like that behind her, and then maybe with some guts spilling out of his neck or something, just to go along with the narrative, because we want to have, gotta have like a weapon in the ground. And the body's got to look like the body of a warrior, gladiator, or something like that. Maybe with some armor? I don't know. Work it out. I think the next step for me for this head, because I don't have exact reference for it, I want to get some. I was trying to use a head from a 3D model that I sculpted, but I'd have to just rephotograph the sculpture that I have. So I was going to use this alien head, but then kind of just warp it. See what that looks like real quick. Call it a day. Let's see. Stuff. So this isn't going to be perfect reference either, because there's that cool rim light effect going on back of his right side. So I have to adjust for that. I have sculptures. I have like alien sculptures just like sitting on a shelf that I can just use and warp into place and all that stuff. But I want to try to be as close to the reference as possible. I mean, I want to be as close as to the lighting sculpture as possible. I mean, I want to be as close to the lighting in my painting here as possible. So reference sculpt would have to be reshot to get what I want. Let's see. A lot of this is going to be would be liquefy tool after this, like just messing around with it to get something that I'm happy with. The other option would be to either use ZBrush or just sculpt it with clay. Probably just end up just getting some gray super sculpting, balling it up. I don't need it to be perfect, I just need that so I can just really quickly just ball something up, drop some eyes into it, bake it real quick, and then just paint it. If I can find the time to do that before next class or next stream, great. Because I really don't want to go into this face just making it up as I go. I'm just more comfortable, especially when something doesn't exist, to know how light hits that form. Really get in there with all the specular highlights and all the little details around the. Really have fun with it, but know that it's accurate. So that's what I got for you guys today. Her body is mostly done. Yeah, so her body's done. I just got to get the. It's as done as it's gonna be. I'm not gonna go to it. Just need to finish her little axe weapon. Sure. So, good talking to you guys. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you same time next week. So have a good weekend. Don't do anything dangerous. Drink your milk. I don't know. It's complete. Lactose intolerant for all. All right. Bye.